How did ancient Egyptians predict the flooding of the Nile? The ancient Egyptians believed that the flooding of the Nile depended on the position of the star Sirius in the sky. They watched for its rising and knew that when Sirius appeared, the time of the flood was approaching, bringing fertility and wealth to their land. Sirius was so important to the ancient Egyptians that it was even associated with the goddess Isis. This star helped predict harvests and prevent famine, holding significance for thousands of years. Can you imagine? Flamingos aren't born pink. Baby flamingos come into the world with grayish-white feathers. They develop their signature pink hue only after they start feeding on brine shrimp and blue-green algae. These colorful foods contain pigments called carotenoids, which gradually turn their feathers pink. It's a vivid transformation that turns these elegant birds into the beautiful pink creatures we adore. So the next time you see a flamingo, remember, their color is all thanks to their diet. Can you imagine the world's longest traffic jam lasted 12 days? In 2010, China experienced the longest traffic jam in history, stretching over 100 kilometers and lasting an incredible 12 days. The traffic jam occurred on the highway connecting Beijing and Inner Mongolia, caused by a combination of road accidents and a massive number of vehicles. Some drivers were stuck for so long that they had to negotiate with local villagers for food and water. This event became a true test of patience and endurance, and remains one of the most epic traffic jams ever recorded. Did you know that the USA leads the world in Olympic medals? The United States holds the all-time record for Olympic Games medals. American athletes have earned more than 2,900 medals throughout the history of the Games. It is the only country to have won more than 1,000 gold medals. The USA continues to dominate, winning medals at every Olympics since the start of the Games in 1896. In 2024, at the Paris Games, the USA became the first country to surpass 3,000 total medals. This is a phenomenal achievement. Did you know that the whale shark is the largest fish in the world? Whale sharks can grow up to 12 meters long, making them the largest fish on the planet. Despite their immense size, these gentle giants feed mainly on plankton and tiny organisms. They filter massive amounts of water daily through their enormous mouths. Don't worry though, whale sharks are completely harmless to humans and can even be quite friendly if you ever encounter them in the ocean. Is it true that you can see kangaroos on the streets in Australia? Absolutely true. In some Australian cities, there are so many kangaroos that they hop around the streets like regular pedestrians. They're especially common in Canberra, where kangaroos even cause traffic jams. Locals are used to this sight, but it's always a surprise for tourists. In these cities, there are even special signs warning drivers about tail-walking pedestrians. Can you pronounce a word with 189,000 letters? The longest word in the English language is the chemical name of the protein titin, and it consists of a staggering 189,000 letters. Pronouncing it could take several hours. Of course, such a word isn't used in everyday life, but it exists as a linguistic marvel of science. This fact shows just how complex and amazing language can be when it comes to science and chemistry. Have you ever thought about how whales sing underwater? Whales produce sounds that can be heard hundreds of kilometers away underwater. These sounds help them communicate and find mates, even across vast distances. Whale songs can last for hours, and each one is unique, like a fingerprint. These songs change over the years, making them not just a means of communication, but also a form of cultural heritage passed down through generations. Can you imagine that in Colorado, there's a town where it's illegal to die? In the town of Nederland, Colorado, there's a strange and even absurd law. You can't die in the town. This law stems from a local history involving attempts to preserve a man's body in a frozen state. Now the town has declared itself a territory for immortals, and locals jokingly claim that they're simply not allowed to die. Of course, the law isn't enforceable, but many people visit Nederland to laugh at this odd tradition and learn about the story of the frozen eternal resident. The pistol shrimp, master of the sonic boom. The pistol shrimp, just 2 centimeters long, holds the title of the loudest creature on the planet. It creates a sonic boom louder than a Concorde jet by snapping its claws shut so quickly that it forms a cavitation bubble. This bubble then collapses, creating an incredibly loud sound, strong enough to stun small prey. This unique ability helps the pistol shrimp hunt and defend itself against predators. Who would have thought that such a tiny creature could produce such a powerful noise? Can you imagine that bananas are actually berries? Despite their shape and size, bananas are, botanically speaking, berries. It all comes down to how they develop from a flower. But here's the twist. Strawberries, which we often think of as berries, technically aren't. Although bananas look more like a fruit, their internal structure and growth process mark them as true berries. So, next time you enjoy a banana, remember you're eating a bona fide berry. Who would have thought that giraffe spots are like fingerprints? Giraffes are not only majestic creatures, but they also have a unique feature. Each giraffe's spot pattern is as individual as a human fingerprint. No two giraffes have the same spot configuration, which makes them truly one of a kind. These spots serve more than just an aesthetic function. They help regulate body temperature in the hot savanna and assist in social recognition within their groups. So next time you see a giraffe, remember that its spots are as unique as your fingerprint. Did you know why watches in ads show 10 past 10? Most watch ads show the hands set at 10 minutes past 10. This is no accident. This position creates a visually pleasing appearance that resembles a smiling face. Additionally, this way, the hands do not obscure the company's logo, which is typically placed at the 12 o'clock position. This layout also highlights balance and symmetry, making advertising photos even more appealing. Tardigrades, survival masters of extreme conditions. These microscopic creatures, also known as water bears, can survive in places where other organisms would perish. Tardigrades can endure freezing temperatures as low as -270 degrees Celsius, boiling heat, radiation, and even the vacuum of space. In extreme conditions, they enter a state called cryptobiosis, where their metabolism nearly stops, turning them into something like a time capsule. In this state, they can survive without water or food for decades. These fascinating creatures inspire scientists to explore new frontiers, and one day, they might even help humans conquer other planets. Did you know that olive oil can help fight cancer? Extra virgin olive oil contains an incredible compound called oleocanthal, which has the remarkable ability to destroy cancer cells without harming healthy ones. This natural wonder shows how food can act as medicine, offering a gentle yet powerful defense against cancer. Oleocanthal targets cancer cells at a molecular level, making olive oil a potential ally in the fight against various cancers. So next time you enjoy olive oil, remember that it's not just a tasty ingredient, but also a natural healer. Did you know that cats use their whiskers as measuring tools? Cats are masters of agility, and their secret lies in their whiskers. These long, sensitive hairs aren't just decorative, they play an essential role. A cat's whiskers are usually about as wide as its body and help them determine whether they can fit through narrow spaces. It's like they have a built-in scanner that constantly analyzes their surroundings and warns them of obstacles. Thanks to these magic hairs, cats can move confidently even in complete darkness, always graceful and swift. So the next time you see a cat squinting to judge a space, remember, their whiskers have already done all the work in the background. How about this? In Turkey, there is an ancient underground city that could hold over 20,000 people. Derinkuyu is one of the largest and most mysterious underground cities in the world. It was built thousands of years ago in Cappadocia and consists of several levels deep underground. For centuries, the city was used as a refuge during wars and raids. It included everything needed for life: living quarters, wineries, churches, ventilation shafts, and even schools. The city was discovered accidentally in 1963, and to this day, archaeologists have not fully explored all of its secrets. Why don't newborns cry tears? Newborn babies can cry, but they don't shed tears. How is that possible? Their tear glands are not fully developed. In fact, it can take several weeks for newborns to start crying with tears. So while babies can loudly express their dissatisfaction, you won't see real tears until sometime after birth. This is one of the little wonders that happen in the first weeks of a baby's life. The Shawshank Redemption, a movie that didn't become a legend right away. Who would have thought that one of the greatest films of all time, The Shawshank Redemption, initially flopped at the box office? When this masterpiece by Stephen King and director Frank Darabont was released in 1994, it didn't make much money in theaters. But thanks to word of mouth, the film gained popularity over time. People began recommending it to friends, and it gradually became a cult classic. Today, it tops many lists of the best films of all time, proving that the power of great storytelling and genuine audience love can make a film immortal. It turns out that in some countries you can wash banknotes. In countries like Australia and Canada, banknotes are printed on a special polymer material, not paper, making them durable and waterproof. These plastic bills are not only harder to tear, but you can accidentally wash them in your pants pocket and they'll remain intact. This innovation has reduced the cost of producing banknotes and made them more long-lasting. The future of money is money that isn't afraid of water. Can you imagine that the moon is slowly drifting away from Earth? Each year, the moon moves about 3.5 centimeters farther away from Earth. This happens due to tidal interactions between the Earth and the moon. Billions of years ago, the moon was much closer, and in billions of years, it may drift out of Earth's gravitational pull altogether. Though this process is incredibly slow, scientists track it using lasers and reflectors left on the moon by the Apollo missions. Did you know that the peacock is the most colorful animal on Earth? The peacock, native to Asia, is crowned as the most vibrant animal on the planet. Its stunning array of colors includes brilliant blues, greens, yellows, purples, and reds. These dazzling feathers not only captivate potential mates, but also help the peacock ward off predators. Each feather is like a masterpiece, and together they create a living rainbow in nature. The peacock is truly a spectacle of nature, flaunting its colors like a work of art. The broken chains at the feet of the Statue of Liberty. At the feet of the Statue of Liberty are broken chains, symbolizing freedom from oppression and injustice. These chains, often hidden from view, send a powerful message: the continuous march towards emancipation and liberty. They serve as a reminder that the struggle for freedom never truly ends, and every step taken is part of the larger journey towards justice. The Statue of Liberty's broken chains represent hope and liberation for all. Who would have thought that dolphins sleep with one eye open? Yes, it's true. Dolphins have a unique ability to shut down half of their brain while the other half remains active. This allows them to rest while staying alert for predators and maintaining control over their breathing. Imagine being able to sleep while still ready to wake up at any moment. This evolutionary trick helps dolphins survive in the ocean. Greenland shark, the longest living creature of the ocean, 500 years of life. Believe it or not, Greenland sharks can live up to 500 years. These ancient inhabitants of the cold waters of the North Atlantic are among the longest living vertebrates on Earth. Scientists have determined the age of sharks by studying the lenses of their eyes, which accumulate layers over time, much like the rings on a tree. Some of these sharks were born before the Renaissance. This incredible fact highlights how fascinating and underexplored the underwater world is. Imagine, the oldest sharks may have been swimming in the ocean when the first pyramids were being built. Hard to believe, but there's an underwater waterfall in the world. On the island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean, there is a phenomenon that baffles even experienced travelers and scientists. Off the island's southwestern coast, you can witness an optical illusion of an underwater waterfall. It's not a real waterfall, but a natural phenomenon where sand and sediment, moved by currents, create the illusion of a waterfall plunging into the ocean depths. Due to the ocean floor's contours, it looks like water is cascading down into a giant abyss, though in reality, it's just an illusion. Yet this view is so mesmerizing that many tourists come to Mauritius just to see this extraordinary sight. The secret of the creosote bush's longevity. In the Mojave Desert, one of the driest places on Earth, a creosote bush over 11,000 years old still grows. It's the oldest living thing on Earth, having survived entire civilizations. It grows in a ring shape, with each new sprout slowly replacing the older ones, creating an unbroken connection to past generations. Thanks to its incredible ability to survive in extreme conditions, this bush has become a symbol of resilience and longevity. The creosote bush reminds us that nature can withstand almost anything if left undisturbed. Who would have thought that the wombat is a true architect of nature? Imagine this. The small, furry wombat living in Australian forests is not just cute, but unique in a very peculiar way. It's the only animal on the planet that leaves cube-shaped droppings. Yes, you heard that right. Perfect little cubes. These unusual blocks don't just roll down hills. Wombats strategically place them to mark their territory. The cubic shape helps prevent them from rolling, which is especially useful in hilly areas. Scientists have long wondered how wombats manage to produce such regular shapes. The secret lies in the unique structure of their intestines, which compress the waste into perfect cubes. Nature never ceases to amaze, and wombats with their cube droppings are a shining example of how fascinating her creations can be. Hell freezes over every year. Believe it or not, there's a town in Norway called Hell, and it literally freezes over every winter. This is not a joke, it's a real place on the map. And although the town is quite small, it attracts tourists every year thanks to its unusual name. Due to Norway's cold climate, Hell is covered in ice and snow every winter, often sparking jokes. "When hell freezes over" is a phrase that is rather common for the residents of this town. So if you want to see hell for yourself, head to Norway in the winter and watch it freeze over. Did you know that ants never sleep? Ants are the real workaholics of the insect world. These amazing tiny creatures seem like they are non-stop working machines, constantly on the go without ever pausing to rest. But the truth is, ants don't sleep the way we do. Instead, they take short breaks throughout the day to recharge their energy. Their remarkable strength and impressive teamwork make them one of the most successful and efficient species on Earth. It's truly mind-blowing when you realize just how resilient they are. Did you know glass actually flows? Contrary to popular belief, glass is not entirely solid. Over time, glass slowly flows, though this process can take hundreds or thousands of years. In old buildings, you might notice that glass windows have become slightly thicker at the bottom. This happens because the molecules of glass gradually shift downward under the force of gravity, making it behave more like a very slow-moving liquid on a molecular level. Owls don't just see, they mesmerize. Owls don't have typical eyeballs. Instead, they have specialized tubular eyes. This unique adaptation allows them to keep their eyes fixed, giving them exceptional binocular vision and the ability to rotate their heads almost 270 degrees. Thanks to this, owls become masters of nighttime hunting, detecting even the slightest movements in complete darkness. Their eyes are more than just organs of sight. They are powerful tools that make them incredible hunters. And every time they turn their heads, it's like witnessing nature's magic in action. Goosebumps, an evolutionary artifact from our ancestors. Have you ever wondered why we get goosebumps? This phenomenon is linked to our ancient ancestors. Long ago, when humans and animals had more body hair, this reaction helped them appear larger and more intimidating to predators, while also retaining heat in cold weather. When tiny muscles at the base of hair follicles contract, the hair stands up, creating a fluffy effect. Today, goosebumps are a leftover from our evolutionary past, but they no longer serve the important function they once did. Nowadays, goosebumps are more often triggered by cold or strong emotions. So next time you feel goosebumps, remember that they are a part of your ancient defense system. Did you know that scorpions can glow in the dark? When exposed to ultraviolet light, scorpions begin to glow bright blue-green. This happens due to a substance in their exoskeleton that reacts to ultraviolet light. Scientists are still debating why scorpions have this ability. It might help them hide from predators or serve as a signal to other scorpions. Whatever the reason, it's one of nature's most astonishing phenomena. Did you know your keyboard is dirtier than a toilet seat? It sounds awful, but your keyboard can be a real breeding ground for germs. Studies have shown that keyboards often contain more bacteria than toilet seats. Dust, food crumbs, and microbes accumulate on the keys over time. That's why regularly cleaning your keyboard isn't just a good habit, it's an important hygiene measure. A keyboard cleaner and wet wipes are your best friends in the battle against germs. How would you react if you knew that in Japan, buildings are made of paper? In Japan, they are developing innovative buildings made from recycled paper. This material is used for temporary structures such as pavilions or exhibition centers. The paper walls are treated with special substances that make them resistant to rain and fire. This is an example of how modern technologies allow for the construction of eco-friendly buildings that are easy to dismantle and recycle, leaving no harm to the environment. Hard to believe, but Iceland has an official elf translator. Icelanders believe in elves so much that they even invite a special translator to communicate with them. Road and building contractors are required to consult with this translator to avoid disturbing elf dwellings. It's believed that elves live in rocks and hills, so if construction is needed, they check first to see if it's an elf home. This way, Iceland builds with possible neighbors in mind. The first computer mouse was made of wood. In 1964, Douglas Engelbart invented the first computer mouse, and it was made of wood. This device, with two metal wheels, revolutionized how humans interact with computers. Today, modern mice are much more advanced, but that wooden mouse remains a landmark in computer history. What if I told you that there's a desert in Chile where it snows? The Atacama Desert is one of the driest places on Earth, but sometimes it snows. This rare natural phenomenon happens due to sudden climate changes and brings precipitation to regions that have not seen rain for years. Snow falling on the red sands of the desert creates an incredible contrast, making this place even more mysterious and astonishing. Tourists from around the world come to witness this unique natural wonder. Did you know the world's smallest dog weighs just half a kilogram? Meet Millie, a Chihuahua from Puerto Rico, who holds the title of the world's smallest dog. Millie is only 9.65 centimeters tall, or about 3.8 inches, and weighs around 500 grams, just over 1 pound. When she was born in 2011, she was so tiny that she had to be fed through a pipette. Millie has earned her place in the Guinness World Records as the smallest living dog, and her tiny size makes her a true star among dog lovers. Is it true that Iceland has no railways? Iceland really has no railways, despite technological advancements in other countries. The main reason is the geographical features of the country, which consists of volcanic rocks and mountainous terrain, making railway construction extremely difficult and expensive. Additionally, due to the small population, roads are a more convenient mode of transport. So despite all the progress, you won't find trains there. Is it possible? Sea otters hold hands while sleeping. Sea otters are one of the most adorable animals in the ocean, and they have a heartwarming habit of holding hands while they sleep. This behavior isn't just cute, it serves a practical purpose, preventing them from drifting apart in ocean currents. By holding on to each other, they form small floating rafts, demonstrating their strong social bonds and clever ways to stay together in the ever-moving sea. Can you imagine that there's a village in Poland with upside-down houses? In the village of Szymbark, Poland, there's a unique house that stands upside down. It's not just an artistic installation, but a real tourist attraction that you can enter. The house was built as a symbol of the upheavals and changes that Poland experienced in the 20th century. Inside, everything is also upside down: the furniture, the stairs, and even the windows. Visitors who enter often feel slightly disoriented because the inverted space creates a dizzying effect. This place has become a tourist sensation and a must-see for anyone visiting the area. What if I told you the world's largest book weighs over 150 kilograms? The world's largest book, the Quirky Atlas, is housed in the British Library in London. This massive tome measures 1.75 meters tall and 1.90 meters wide, making it a true heavyweight in the literary world. Weighing in at 150 kilograms, it's almost impossible to lift without help. Despite its size, this giant atlas is not just a record holder, but a treasure trove of geography and history for book lovers. Is it possible? The moon is gradually drifting away from Earth. The moon is slowly but surely moving away from Earth at a rate of 3.8 centimeters per year. This process is caused by tidal forces between Earth and the moon, which slow Earth's rotation and gradually widen the moon's orbit. This cosmic waltz has been going on for billions of years. Interestingly, in the distant future, the moon may become so far away that it will no longer appear as bright from Earth as it does now. Why do leaves turn red and yellow in the fall? When autumn comes, trees turn off photosynthesis. During this process, the green pigment, chlorophyll, breaks down, and other pigments, carotenoids and anthocyanins, reveal themselves in yellow and red hues. It's like nature putting on a colorful show. Interestingly, the cooler and sunnier the autumn, the brighter these colors will be. Have you ever realized that this is nature's magical performance happening right before your eyes? Have you ever wondered if sand can turn into glass? Glass is made by heating sand to a temperature above 1,400 degrees Celsius, at which point it melts. The result is a material that looks completely different from the original sand. This process was discovered in ancient Egypt and is still used today to make everything from windows to high-tech smartphone screens. So ordinary sand literally transforms into a transparent material that has changed our world. It turns out that Spain has a ghost city built for thousands of people, but no one lives there. In the Spanish province of Galicia, there is a place called Ciudad de la Cultura, City of Culture, which was built with grand ambitions. It was meant to be a major cultural hub for scholars, artists, and creative individuals. However, the project ran into financial difficulties, and now this city stands mostly abandoned. Its modern buildings, inspired by ancient designs, stand as a colossal monument to unfulfilled dreams. This place attracts both tourists and architecture enthusiasts, even though most of the structures remain closed and unused. Sharks can smell a drop of blood from miles away. Sharks have one of the most impressive senses of smell in the animal kingdom. They can detect blood in a ratio of 1 part per million of water, allowing them to track their prey from great distances. This ability makes sharks some of the most dangerous predators in the ocean. Their olfactory system is so developed that they can detect even the slightest changes in the chemical composition of water. Sharks not only track prey, but can also avoid potential threats, making them true masters of survival. This incredible sense of smell enables them to hunt effectively, even in the deepest, darkest waters. So if you find yourself in the ocean with a cut, beware. A shark could sense it from miles away. Did you know Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky? When you look up at the night sky, you probably notice a bright star shining more brilliantly than all the others. That's Sirius, also known as the dog star. Located in the constellation Canis Major, Sirius has a magnitude of -1.46, making it the brightest star visible from Earth. Although it seems close, Sirius is about 8.6 light-years away, adding a sense of mystery and wonder to the night sky. Astronauts don't float in zero gravity like we think. Many people believe that astronauts experience total weightlessness in space, but that's a common misconception. In reality, they are constantly falling toward Earth, but at such a high speed that they never crash into it. This continuous fall gives them the feeling of being weightless, a fantastic example of how the laws of physics turn space into a magical realm of floating. The Eiffel Tower grows in summer. Every year when summer hits Paris, the Eiffel Tower undergoes a little growth spurt. Its height can increase by a few centimeters due to the thermal expansion of iron. As temperatures rise, the metal expands, making the tower stretch upwards as if waking up from a winter slumber. This phenomenon shows how even majestic and sturdy structures, like the Eiffel Tower, are influenced by nature. And when summer ends and temperatures drop, the tower shrinks back to its usual height. It's a reminder that architecture and nature are always dancing together in harmony. Why a day on Venus is longer than its year? Did you know that one day on Venus is longer than an entire Venusian year? Venus rotates around its axis so slowly that it takes about 243 Earth days to complete one rotation. But its orbit around the Sun, lasts only around 225 days. Imagine standing on Venus, watching the sun rise and set over the course of several months. By the time a Venusian evening arrives, 2 Earth years have passed. This makes Venus one of the most paradoxical planets in our solar system. Amazing, but on Venus, it rains sulfuric acid. Imagine a planet where it rains. But instead of water, drops of sulfuric acid fall from the sky. That's exactly what happens on Venus. In its atmosphere, clouds are composed of sulfuric acid, and when it rains, the drops evaporate before reaching the surface due to extremely high temperatures, which can reach up to 470 degrees Celsius. This is one of the reasons Venus is considered one of the most hostile planets for life in our solar system. If we ever explore Venus, this hellish atmosphere would be a serious challenge for future technology. Did you know that in China there is a living bridge entirely made from tree roots? In China's Guizhou province, there is a unique bridge created not by humans, but by nature itself. Local villagers directed the growth of tree roots in such a way that they formed a sturdy bridge capable of holding the weight of several people. This process took decades, and now the bridge has become a symbol of harmony between people and nature. Scientists consider it one of the most outstanding examples of natural architecture, and it is still used by locals to cross rivers and streams. The Great Barrier Reef, a giant natural wonder. The Great Barrier Reef is not only the largest living structure on Earth, but also a bustling underwater city where thousands of species of fish, coral, and other marine creatures reside. It stretches over 2,300 kilometers along Australia's coast and is even visible from space. This natural wonder plays a crucial role in maintaining the ocean's ecosystem by filtering water and providing shelter for marine life. Unfortunately, climate change and ocean pollution threaten its existence. Scientists worldwide are working to preserve this astonishing underwater world for future generations. Every cat has a unique nose print, just like humans have unique fingerprints. Cats have their own special patterns on their noses. Each cat's nose has a distinct print that can be used to identify them, much like how fingerprints work for people. This trait makes every cat's nose completely unique and adds a bit of personality to their charm. So if you have a furry purring friend at home, know that their nose is as unique as their character. This amazing fact highlights how diverse and mysterious the feline world is, where even the smallest details matter. What if I told you that you can boil water just by shaking it? Yes, it's true, although practically impossible to do. If you shake a container of water fast and hard enough, you can create friction, which will raise the water's temperature. Theoretically, if you shake it quickly enough, you could even bring the water to a boil. This unusual physics experiment shows how mechanical energy can be converted into heat. While you won't be making tea this way, the mere possibility that shaking could boil water is astonishing. Photography, the art of stopping time. The ability to capture a moment on paper may seem like magic, but today it's a part of our everyday lives. The history of photography is filled with fascinating facts. The first attempts to freeze an image were made in the early 1800s by Thomas Wedgwood, but without success. Modern photography, as we know it today, became possible thanks to the experiments of pioneers like Joseph Nicephore Niepce and William Henry Fox Talbot. Their innovations forever changed the way we preserve and share memories. Did you know the African elephant is the largest land animal on Earth? African elephants are true giants. These majestic creatures can weigh up to 14,000 pounds, about 6,350 kilograms. That's like a small car on 4 legs. These gentle giants are a symbol of nature's greatness, and their size is awe-inspiring. Horsepower, more than just a name. Did you know that a horse can produce a lot more than just 1 horsepower? The term was coined by Scottish engineer James Watt to compare the power of steam engines to the strength of a horse. It turns out that a single horse can actually generate a maximum output of up to 18,000 watts, which is roughly equivalent to 24 horsepower. This number depends on factors like the horse's size, breed, and physical condition. While we often use this unit to measure cars and machinery, its origins tie us back to the era of steam engines and the Industrial Revolution. Hyundai logo. What do the shaking hands hide? Have you ever wondered what the Hyundai logo means? It's not just an H on an oval background. If you look closely, you'll notice that the logo resembles 2 people shaking hands. This symbol represents Hyundai's commitment to building trusting relationships between the company and its customers. The oval surrounding the letter symbolizes the brand's global ambitions, while the handshake is a sign of successful cooperation. Since its inception, Hyundai has emphasized quality, reliability, and customer satisfaction, and their logo reflects this philosophy. So the next time you see a Hyundai car on the road, remember that the symbol is more than just a logo. It's a story of trust and partnership. Tick saliva is hundreds of times stronger than morphine. It sounds incredible, but tick saliva contains compounds with anesthetic properties that are hundreds of times stronger than morphine. These natural painkillers allow ticks to attach to their hosts without causing pain. This fact has attracted the attention of scientists who are now researching the potential of using these compounds in medicine to create new pain relief methods. Who would have thought that tiny parasites could hide such immense medical potential? Have you ever wondered that in Italy there is a exploding vegetable garden? In the Italian village of Trevestare, there is an astonishing phenomenon. Plants in local vegetable gardens can literally explode under certain weather conditions. This happens due to the accumulation of gas in the soil, which with sudden changes in pressure or temperature can cause small bursts. The locals call this phenomenon the Garden of Fire. Science does not yet have a clear explanation, but it has become a part of local culture and a tourist attraction. Why does fish rain actually happen? In the city of Yoro, Honduras, an unusual phenomenon occurs every year: rain of fish. This strange natural event happens during the heavy summer storms when hundreds of live fish fall to the ground along with the rain. Locals call it lluvia de peces and believe it to be a divine blessing. However, scientists suggest that strong water spouts form in the atmosphere, lifting fish from nearby bodies of water and depositing them kilometers away. It's one of those phenomena that remind us how surprising and unpredictable nature can be. Magirocophobia. Fear of cooking is real. Magirocophobia goes far beyond just not wanting to cook. It's a deep-rooted fear that can grip someone at the mere thought of turning on the stove. Imagine standing in a kitchen, surrounded by pots and pans, and feeling a wave of terror, like you're in a haunted house. It's not about being bad at cooking, it's the fear that keeps people away. Not all scary things hide in closets. Some are lurking in your cookbook. Believe it or not, rats can laugh. Yes, you heard that right, rats can laugh. Scientists have discovered that these cute rodents emit ultrasonic giggles when tickled. While humans can't hear these sounds, the rat's laughter has been recorded with special equipment and proved that rats can experience pleasure. This fact opens a new dimension in the study of animals' emotional worlds. Imagine, rats not only run through mazes, but also have fun, just like we do. Who would have thought that rats could be so funny and emotionally responsive creatures? The invention of the sandwich, the story behind the snack. John Montagu, the 4th Earl of Sandwich, invented the sandwich as a convenient snack to eat while playing cards. Not wanting to leave the table, he asked his servant to bring him meat between 2 slices of bread. Thus, the sandwich was born, a perfect snack for multitaskers and gamblers alike. So the next time you enjoy a sandwich, remember that it's more than just a meal. It's a historic snack born from the gaming table. Mosquito detectives. Case closed. Did you know that mosquitoes can help solve crimes? In Finland, police found a dead mosquito inside a stolen car. By analyzing the blood left inside the mosquito, they identified the DNA of the thief. Female mosquitoes feed on blood to nourish their eggs, while males stick to nectar. This unique case shows how even the smallest creatures can play a big role in justice. It's a perfect example of how science and nature sometimes surprise us with their unexpected contributions. Have you ever thought about how bats are the only flying mammals? Their wings are unlike birds' wings. They are special membranes stretched between elongated fingers. This unique construction allows bats to perform complex aerial maneuvers while hunting insects. They also use echolocation to navigate in the dark, making them incredibly precise hunters. Bats play a vital role in ecosystems, eating vast numbers of insects and pollinating plants.